The gavel cracked like a gunshot in the stifling air of the Milford County Courthouse, silencing the murmurs that had been building like thunder. 17-year-old Alex Thompson gripped the edge of the witness stand, his knuckles white, as the prosecutor's voice sliced through the room like a blade. "So, Mr. Thompson, while your father was busy covering up your little escapades, were you too busy chasing boys to notice the law breaking right under your nose?" Laughter rippled from the jury box, cruel and sharp, but Alex's hazel eyes burned with a fire that no courtroom could extinguish. He was done hiding, done crumbling under the weight of the town that had turned his truth into a punchline. In that frozen moment, as the prosecutor's smirk widened, Alex realized the verdict wasn't just about his father's fate. It was about reclaiming the love they'd both buried too deep. The summer before it all unraveled had started like any other in Milford, Ohio, a sleepy on the map where cornfields stretched endless under skies so blue they hurt to look at, and the air hummed with cicadas singing secrets no one dared voice. Alex was 16 then, still navigating the awkward limbo of high school, where lockers slammed like judgments and whispers followed him like shadows. He wasn't out, not really. Not to his classmates, not to the football jocks who ruled the halls with their easy grins and ironclad alibis for every bruise they left behind. But in the quiet corners of his mind, Alex dreamed in colors too vivid for Milford's gray edges. Stolen glances at the new kid in art class, the way sunlight caught on someone else's lashes, the ache of wanting that no textbook could explain. David Thompson, Alex's father, was the rock Milford leaned on, or so the town thought. At 44, with a jaw like carved granite and hands calloused from 20 years on the force, David had buried his wife young, when cancer stole her away and left him raising a boy in a house that echoed with absence. He coached Little League on weekends, fixed leaky faucets for neighbors without charge, and enforced the law with a quiet authority that made folks nod in respect. But beneath that badge, David carried ghosts. The bottle he nursed after shifts, the prayers he whispered for a son who seemed to drift further each year, the unspoken fear that he wasn't enough to fill the voids grief had carved. It was late June when Jamie Ellis blew into town like a warm wind off Lake Erie, transferring from Cleveland with his mom after her latest divorce. Jamie was 17, all lean muscle and effortless charm, with curly auburn hair that fell just so over foreheads that crinkled when he laughed, and green eyes that held stories of cities Alex could only imagine. He showed up in Mr. Hardrove's English class, slinging his backpack onto the desk beside Alex's with a grin that said he didn't care about the stairs. "Heard this place has the best pie west of Toledo," Jamie quipped, his voice carrying a lilt that hinted at adventures beyond cornstalks. Alex felt his cheeks burn, mumbled something about the diner on Main, and just like that, the spark ignited, tentative, thrilling, forbidden. Their first real conversation happened after school, under the old oak by the football field, where the grass was worn thin from generations of dreams chased and crushed. Alex had lingered, pretending to tie his shoelace, when Jamie jogged over, sweat-dampened shirt clinging to his frame. "You always this quiet, or is it just me?" Jamie teased, dropping onto the ground cross-legged, close enough that Alex could smell the faint citrus of his shampoo. They talked for hours about books that made hearts race, music that drowned out the world's noise, the way coming out in a big city felt like shedding skin, while in a place like Milford, it was like inviting the storm inside. Jamie's hand brushed Alex's as he gestured wildly about a protest he'd marched in back home, and neither pulled away. That touch lingered like a promise, electric and terrifying, pulling Alex into a world where love wasn't a sin whispered in shadows. As weeks blurred into sun-soaked days, their friendship deepened into something softer, more dangerous. Stolen moments in the back booth of Millie's Diner, where pie plates steamed between them and knees knocked under the table. Late-night bike rides along the riverbank, where fireflies danced like confetti and Jamie's laughter echoed off the water. Alex learned Jamie's rhythms, the way his voice dropped low when sharing fears of his absent dad, the gentle curve of his smile when Alex admitted his own confusion. "It's okay to not have it all figured out," Jamie murmured one evening, their fingers intertwining on the porch swing of the old Ellis house, the sky bruising purple above. "We're just kids figuring out how to love in a world that doesn't always make it easy." Alex's heart hammered, and when Jamie leaned in, their lips met soft and tentative, a kiss tasting of cherry cola and courage, sealing a bond that felt as vast as the stars wheeling overhead. But Milford wasn't kind to secrets that shimmered too bright. Whispers started small. A snicker in the locker room when Alex's gaze lingered too long on Jamie during gym, A note slipped into his backpack, scrawled with slurs that made his stomach twist. The football captain, Brody Kane, a hulking senior with a mean streak wider than the Ohio River, took notice first. Brody, with his buzz cut and beer-kin temper, had always ruled by fear, and Jamie's easy confidence was a threat he couldn't ignore. It escalated one Friday after the game, when the team cornered Jamie behind the bleachers, Brody's fist connecting with Jamie's jaw in a crack that echoed like betrayal. "Freak!" Brody snarled, his buddies holding Jamie down as kicks rained like judgments. Alex heard the commotion from the parking lot, his bike skidding to a halt as rage boiled up, hot and unfamiliar. He didn't think, he charged. "Get off him!" Alex yelled, shoving Brody hard enough to stagger the bigger boy. Fists flew in a blur, Alex's knuckles splitting against Brody's cheek, a wild swing that caught another jock in the ribs. Jamie scrambled up, blood trickling from his lip, grabbing Alex's arm. "Run!" But it was too late. The fight spilled into the open, headlights from passing cars illuminating the chaos like a spotlight on their shame. Sirens wailed soon after, David's cruiser pulling up with lights flashing blue and red against the night. David arrived to a scene from his nightmares. His son, bruised and breathless, cradling Jamie against the chain-link fence, both boys' faces streaked with dirt and defiance. The other boys scattered like roaches, but Brody stayed, pointing a trembling finger. "They started it, Sheriff. Freaks attacking us for no reason." David's jaw tightened, his eyes flicking from Alex's split lip to the raw fear in Jamie's gaze. He wanted to roar, to drag his boy home and lock the world out, but duty pinned him in place. "Hands where I could he barked, cuffing Brody loosely. Too loosely, some would later say, while radioing for backup. Alex met his father's eyes then, pleading silently, "Don't make this worse." David looked away, the weight of unspoken words crushing him, and in that moment, a fracture formed, father and son, bound by blood, divided by silence. The weeks that followed were a tightrope walk over an abyss. Charges flew, assault on both sides, but the sheriff's son and his friend painted a target on their backs. David pulled strings quietly, talking down the DA, warning Brody's dad to keep his mouth shut, acts born of protection, twisted into corruption by prying eyes. Alex and Jamie clung tighter, their romance blooming fierce in the fallout. Whispered "I love you" in the dim glow of phone screens, hands clasped under cafeteria tables, dreams of escaping to college where flags flew rainbow, and love wasn't a crime. But the guilt gnawed at Alex, his father's haunted eyes at dinner, the bottle emptying faster each night. "Dad, wasn't your fault." Alex tried once, over cold spaghetti in their linoleum kitchen. David just grunted, staring at the wall. "World not fair, kid. Best we keep our heads down." Yet secrets have a way of clawing free. An anonymous tip, a neighbor's wife who'd seen too much from her porch swing, landed David in hot water. Tampering with evidence, abuse of power. The indictment hit like a freight train, stripping his badge and hauling him before Judge Harlan, a stern relic of old Milford who believed in law over mercy. Alex testified first, subpoenaed as a witness to his own nightmare, his voice steady as he recounted the fight, the fear, the love that had sparked it all. But the prosecutor, Elena Vargas, a sharp-tongued shark from Columbus with ambitions bigger than Ohio, saw blood in the water. She paced before the stand like a predator, her heels clicking accusations. "Mr. Thompson, let's be clear. You and your companion were engaged in illicit behavior that night, weren't you? Provoking good boys like Mr. Kane with your unnatural urges?" The courtroom tittered, Judge Harlan's gavel a weak slap on the wrist. Alex's throat burned, memories of Jamie's kiss flashing like lifelines. "It wasn't like that," he said, voice cracking. "We were just existing." Vargas leaned in, venom dripping. "Existing? Or flaunting? Tell the jury, Alex, did your father's leniency stem from Daddy's little secret, or just plain favoritism for his deviant son?" The word hung, a guillotine blade. Alex froze, the gallery's stares pinning him like specimens. He'd faced bullies, buried his truth under layers of denial. But this public flaying, stripped him bare. Tears pricked, hot and traitorous, as laughter swelled again, Brody smirking from the back row. In the defendant's chair, David shifted, chains rattling softly, his face a mass cracking at the edges. And then, as if the air itself held its breath, David Thompson rose, not with the slow defeat of a broken man, but with the thunder of a father unchained. The courtroom gasped, bailiff's hand flying to his holster, but David's voice boomed clear and unyielding. "That's my son you're talking to, counselor. And if anyone's got a problem with who he loves, They can answer to me. The words landed like a bomb, shockwaves rippling through the benches, Vargas's smirk shattering into stunned silence. Alex's head snapped up, meeting his father's gaze, raw, unfiltered, a bridge forged in that instant from years of quiet distance. For the first time, David wasn't the sheriff hiding flaws. He was just Dad, standing tall against the tide. But rewind to the heart of it all, to those fragile days after the fight, when the world narrowed to the space between Alex and Jamie's shared breaths. They'd patched each other up in Jamie's cramped bedroom, posters of indie bands curling at the edges on walls painted thrift store blue. Jamie winced as Alex dabbed antiseptic on his swollen cheek, their knees brushing on the edge of the twin bed. Heroes don't cry, Jamie joked weakly, but his eyes, those endless green pools, betrayed the storm inside. Alex set the cotton aside, cupping Jamie's face gently, thumbs tracing the bruise like mapping constellations. You're not a hero. You're just you. And that's enough. Their foreheads touched, breaths mingling, and in that vulnerability, love deepened. Not the fairy tale kind, but the gritty, real sort that weathers punches and prejudices. They dreamed big in those stolen hours. Applications to Ohio State, visions of dorm rooms where they could hold hands in daylight, protests where rainbows weren't whispers but war cries. Jamie, with his activist fire honed in Cleveland's marches, pulled Alex into late-night reads of Stonewall histories, his voice animated as he paced the room. It's not just about us, Alex. It's about claiming space in a world that wants us invisible. Alex listened, heart swelling, but doubt lingered like fog off the river. What if Milford's all we ever know? What if Dad? He trailed off, the weight of David's silence a chain around his neck. Jamie pulled him close, arms wrapping secure. Then we burn it down and build something better. Together. David watched from afar, piecing together fragments his heart refused to name. The empty chair at family dinners, Alex's secretive smiles over his phone, the way his boy flinched at casual slurs on the news. Guilt festered. Had he failed so badly that his son hid in shadows? Nights blurred into dawn with whiskey's numb embrace. David's mind replaying the bleachers scene. Alex's fury, protective and fierce, aimed at saving someone he loved. Love. The word stuck, foreign yet familiar, echoing his own buried youth in a conservative squad room where feelings were locker room jokes. He wanted to bridge the gap, to say the words lodged in his throat, but fear of losing the son he had, of the town turning on them both, kept him mute. Fall crept in with crisp leaves and cooler winds, carrying the scent of change. School buzzed with the fight's aftermath. Suspensions handed out unevenly, whispers labeling Alex and Jamie as those boys with a curl of disdain. Brody Kane strutted halls like a victor, his dad's influence as sheriff's buddy buying leeway. But Jamie wouldn't bend. He organized a GSA meeting in the library, just 3 kids and a folding table. But Alex showed up, heart pounding, and when Jamie's hand squeezes under the table, it felt like revolution. We're here, Jamie said simply. And in that circle of folding chairs, Alex found his voice, halting stories of confusion, of first crushes that terrified more than thrilled. The group grew, tentative tendrils of community in Milford soil. David's unraveling accelerated with the investigation. Reporters from Columbus sniffed around, headlines screaming sheriff's son in gay brawl. Cover up? His captain pulled them aside one rainy afternoon in the station's back room, coffee steaming between them. David, level with me, was there favoritism? David's fist clenched under the table. I protected my boy, same as you do. But the captain's size said it all. In Milford, blood ties were suspect when they crossed lines of normal. Sleepless, David rifled through Alex's room one night. Old photos of mother and his son smiling, a dog-eared copy of The Joy of Gay Sex hidden under the mattress, a scribbled note from Jay that read, "You're my safe harbor." Tears stung, hot and unfamiliar. He'd failed her, failed him, built walls where bridges were needed. The romance between Alex and Jamie hit its zenith one October weekend, when leaves blazed crimson and gold along the Hocking Hills trails. They ditched town in Jamie's mom's beat-up Civic, windows down, radio blasting indie anthems of queer anthems. Hiking hand-in-hand up mossy paths, they crested a ridge overlooking valleys that stretched like open palms. "Marry me someday?" Jamie whispered, half joking, as they collapsed onto a blanket, picnic forgotten. Alex laughed, pulling him down into the grass, their bodies aligning in a dance of limbs and sighs. "Only if you promise no more heroics." Kisses deepened, urgent and tender, the world fading to the rhythm of heartbeats and wind through oaks. A romantic idyll etched in memory, where love felt infinite, unbreakable. But Milford's claws sank deeper. An arson at the high school GSA storage, pamphlets and rainbow flags reduced to ash, pointed fingers at those kids. Whispers blamed Alex, Brody fanning flames with anonymous posts on the town forum. David quashed rumors, but the DA's office circled, Elena Vargas building her case on threads of bias. Your leniency reeks of agenda, she accused in a preliminary hearing, her eyes cold steel. David seethed, but Alex's testimony loomed, the boy caught in the crossfire of a father's flawed shield. As winter's chill bit, tensions peaked. Jamie's mom announced a move back to Cleveland. Job offer too good to refuse, and the goodbye shattered Alex. They clung in the Ellis driveway, snow flurrying soft around them, Jamie's tears salting their final kiss. This isn't the end, Jamie vowed, pressing a silver bracelet into Alex's palm. A simple chain with a tiny rainbow bead. Wear it for me. We'll fight from afar. Alex nodded, throat tight, watching taillights fade into the night. Alone, he curled on his bed, bracelet glinting like a talisman, vowing to endure. For Jamie, for the boy he'd become in loving him. David found him there at midnight, door creaking open. Son. The word hung heavy. Alex sat up, eyes red-rimmed. He's gone, Dad, and it hurts like hell. David hesitated, then crossed the room, sitting on the bed's edge, closest they'd been in months. I know about you too. Saw the looks, the notes. Silence stretched, taut as wire. Alex braced for the lecture, the disappointment. Instead, David sighed deep. Your mom. She always said, love's the bravest thing we do. I should have listened sooner. His hand landed awkward on Alex's shoulder, a tentative anchor. I'm sorry I made you feel alone in this. Tears broke free then, father and son folding into an embrace raw with years unspoken. I love him, Dad, and I love you. David's voice cracked. I know, kid, and that's okay. In that dim room, with snow tapping the window like applause, the fracture began to mend. Not perfect, but real. Human. Yet dawn brought the subpoena, dragging them back to the fray. The trial opened under gray February skies, Milford's finest in wool coats milling outside the courthouse, picket signs clashing. Justice for Brody versus love wins. Alex took the stand that first day. Vargas's questions a barrage, timelines of the fight, David's interventions, the nature of his relationship with Jamie. Irrelevant. Alex snapped when she probed too deep, earning a gavel rap. But the mockery built, subtle barbs about lifestyle choices influencing testimony, jury eyes narrowing. David watched from the defense table, chains a constant reminder, his lawyer, a harried public defender from Toledo, whispering objections too late. Night after, in the county jail's visiting room, plexiglass between, David pressed his palm to the barrier. Hold steady, Alex. Truth's your weapon. Alex nodded, bracelet hidden under his sleeve, a secret strength. For you too, Dad. We get through this together. The turning point brewed in shadows. An old colleague slipped David a file. Brody's history of assaults buried under Daddy's donations. Evidence Vargas had overlooked in her zeal. But using it risked perjury, more fuel for the corruption fire. David wrestled alone in his cell, moonlight slanting bars across concrete. Memories of his wife's laugh mingling with Alex's first steps. Protection had blinded him once. Now, truth demanded sacrifice. On the trial's third day, the air in the courtroom thickened with anticipation, the heater groaning like a weary beast against the February frost creeping up the windows. Alex returned to the stand, his testimony stretched thin under Vargas's relentless cross. She circled him now, a vulture in pinstripes, her voice honeyed poison. So, Alex, after this altercation, did your father not destroy a key piece of evidence? A phone video that might have shown you as the aggressor. Alex's pulse thundered, the bracelet burning against his wrist like a brand. He'd seen the clip, grainy footage from a teammate's phone, capturing his shove but cropping Brody's taunts. David had misplaced it during intake, a desperate bid to shield. He was protecting me, Alex said, chin lifting, from a system that chews up kids like us. Vargas pounced, her laugh a scalpel. Protecting? Or perverting justice for his gay son's indiscretions? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this isn't fatherly love, it's favoritism laced with scandal. The words landed like acid, sizzling through the room. Snickers erupted from the back, where Brody's family sat stone-faced, arms crossed like barricades. Judge Harlan cleared his throat, but the damage bloomed, Alex's cheeks flamed, vulnerability cracking his armor. He glanced at David, expecting the same averted gaze, the silent endurance. But David's eyes held steady, a storm gathering, fists clenched white on the table's edge. Flashback to that fragile spring after Jamie's departure, when Alex's world teetered on grief's knife edge. Letters arrived weekly, Jamie's scrawl filling pages with tales of Cleveland's pulse. Queer coffee shops where stories flowed like espresso, marches where thousands chanted in unity. Miss you every damn second. One ended, signed with a heart that made Alex's chest ache sweet. He wore the bracelet daily, twisting it during classes when loneliness clawed, a talisman against Milford's chill. School became battleground, graffiti on his locker, fag sheriff spawn, wiped clean by janitors who muttered sympathies without meeting his eyes. The GSA, now a ragtag 5 under Jamie's remote guidance via Zoom, became sanctuary. They crafted posters for a pride event, tentative dreams of rainbow flags on Main Street. David's overtures grew bolder in those thawing days. A Friday night, he knocked on Alex's door with 2 fishing rods, dust from the garage clinging to his flannel. River's thawing. Thought we might talk. Alex eyed him wary, but the pull of normalcy won. They trudged to the banks, where willows wept into the current, lines cast idle as words spilled. David started clumsy. Weather work, the old trucks rattle. Then, deeper, saw you with that bracelet. From him. Alex stiffened, real jerking. Yeah, Jamie. Silence hummed with insects, then David nodded slow. Good kid. Brave. Like his ma. Alex's throat tightened. You. Okay with it. David's line tugged. A perch fighting. Wasn't at first. Scared me. Town, changes losing you to it all. But love's love, son. Ain't no law against brave. Tears pricked as the sun dipped, painting the water gold. They reeled an empty but fuller. David's arm around Alex's shoulders, a weight lifted. That night, over burgers grilled black on the patio, David shared his own ghosts. A college crush on a roommate, buried under badges and beers, emerging now like thaw. Hit it too long. Don't you do the same. Alex hugged him fierce, the fracture sealing with laughter over David's terrible puns. Father-son, allies at last, navigating Milford's minefield hand in hand. But the arson scarred deeper than soot. Investigators pinned it on disgruntled students, code for anyone rainbow adjacent, and whispers turned to threats. Notes in Alex's bag promising cane justice. David patrolled shadows, his suspension a joke as he drove unmarked routes, radio crackling with concern. One dusk, he caught 2 shadows spray-painting the Ellis house, Brody's cronies, masks slipping in flight. David hauled them in unofficial, a stern talk in the station's dim. Hurt my boy again, and badges won't save you. They slunk away, but the seed of tampering sprouted. Vargas's team caught wind via a loose-lipped deputy, weaving it into their web. Summer reignited romance's embers when Jamie returned for a weekend, his mom's car crunching gravel like homecoming. Alex waited on the porch, heart somersaulting as Jamie bounded out, taller somehow, grin splitting wide. Missed this face, Jamie breathed, pulling Alex into a kiss that tasted of road dust and relief. Deep, unhurried, porch light haloing them like benediction. They wandered fields under star-pricked skies, hands linked, sharing updates. Jamie's coming out panel at school. Alex's first GSA speech that drew tentative applause. You're glowing, Jamie said, tracing Alex's jaw by firefly glow. Laughter bubbled as they raced to the river, stripping to shorts and plunging in, water cool against summer heat. They floated, limbs tangled, whispers of futures. Apartments in Columbus, law school for Alex to fight from within, activism for Jamie to rally the streets. David watched from afar that night, binoculars from his truck cab, a smile ghosting his lips. Pride swelled, mingled with ache, his boy blooming despite thorns. He drove home slow, resolving to meet this catalyst properly. Next morning, over pancakes sticky with syrup, David extended a hand across the Formica. Jamie Ellis? David Thompson. Any boy making my son light up like that deserves coffee. Jamie blinked, then grinned shy, shaking firm. Sir, thanks. Means a lot. Conversation flowed, awkward at first. Sports, schools. Then eased into real. Jamie's fears of distance. David's nod of understanding. Love like yours? Worth every mile. Alex beamed, bracelet catching light. A family forged in acceptance's quiet forge. Yet autumn's gales carried omens. The DA's probe intensified, subpoenas piling like fallen leaves. Vargas interviewed witnesses, twisting tales, David's warnings to Brody's dad as intimidation, the missing video as malice. The town divided, old-timers at the VFW decrying agenda pushing, younger voices at the diner murmuring support for the queer kid standing tall. Alex and Jamie's video calls stretched long, Jamie's face pixelated but passionate. Fight it with everything. You're changing Milford, babe, one heart at a time. Strength surged, but dread coiled. Testifying against Dad felt like betrayal, yet silence condemned them both. The night before trial, David and Alex shared a vigil in the living room, fire crackling low. If it comes to it, David said, voice gravel, tell the truth. All of it, even if it sinks me. Alex's eyes welled. Can't lose you too. David's embrace was iron. You won't. We're Thompsons, stubborn as hell. Sleep evaded, ghosts of what-ifs dancing shadows. Trial day dawned bitter, frost etching courthouse panes like accusations. Alex's direct exam was a tightrope, recounting the fight's terror, David's arrival, the love that fueled his stand. Vargas's cross shredded mercy, her deviant barb the final straw. As laughter crested, David rose, chains clanking defiance, voice a clarion. That's my son. Chaos erupted, gasps, shouts, Harlan's gavel pounding futile. Bailiff lunged, but David held a stand, eyes on Alex fierce. This boy's got more courage in his pinky than your whole circus. He loves true, fights fair, and yeah, he's gay. Proud of it. And he's mine. Vargas sputtered. Objection. Irrelevant outburst. But the room shifted. Jurors leaned forward, faces softening. Alex's tears fell free now. Not shame, but release. Dad stand a mirror to his own, love's echo chamber. David turned to the judge, calm as dawn. Your Honor, if that's contempt, lock me up. But truth's out now. Court adjourned in tumult, reporters swarming like locusts. Backstage, in holding, David gripped Alex's hand through bars. Did right by you, kid. Alex nodded, voice thick. Always have. The revelation rippled outward, Milford's fault lines cracking wide. News vans clogged Maine, headlines blazing. Sheriff comes out for gay son in dramatic stand. Social media ignited. Thompson pride, trending local. Strangers sharing stories of hidden loves. Brody's family lawyered up quiet, their son's history unearthed in the frenzy. Unreported assaults, a pattern Vargas's ambition had ignored. Jamie called that night, voice crackling from Cleveland. Saw the clip? Holy shit, Alex. Your dad's a legend. Laughter mingled tears. He finally saw me. All of me. Jamie's whisper warmed. Coming down this weekend. We celebrate, together. As spring hinted green, the trial resumed, transformed. David's outburst unlocked floodgates. Witnesses recanted under scrutiny. The missing video recovered from archives, revealing Brody's slurs unedited. Vargas's case crumbled. Her cross turned defensive. Closing arguments rang with humanity. Defense painting David not villain, but father flawed yet fierce. Verdict came swift. Not guilty. Cheers erupting as David hugged Alex crushing. Jamie in the gallery whooping loud. Outside, rainbows improvised from scars waved. Milford's first impromptu pride. A seed sown in courtroom fire. In the afterglow of acquittal, Milford didn't transform overnight. No fairy dust sprinkled on its conservative bones, but cracks let light seep through, tentative and precious. David traded his badge for community work, founding a youth alliance that drew kids from shadowed corners, his gravel voice sharing tales of growth over coffee clutches. Alex, bracelet glinting, led GSA with renewed fire, Jamie shuttling weekends to co-plan events. Bake sales funding scholarships, panels where stories breathed free. Their romance deepened, road trips to Columbus forging futures. Alex eyeing pre-law, Jamie activism scholarships. One starry night on familiar riverbanks, Jamie knelt in dew-kissed grass. Marry me? For real this time. Alex's yes was a vow. Rings simple silver etched with rainbows, sealing love's quiet triumph. Yet the road to that dawn wound through thorns sharper than any courtroom barb. Post-outburst, the holding cell became confessional. David spilling regrets to his lawyer over stale vending sandwiches. Hid too much from him for myself. That stand? Felt like breathing first time in years. The attorney nodded, filing motions with fresh vigor, subpoenaing Brody's digital trail, texts boasting teaching the fag a lesson. Alex, adrift in the storm's eye, found solace in Jamie's arms during hurried visits. Your dad's revolutionizing that town. Jamie murmured one weekend, tangled in Alex's sheets, curtains billowing soft. And you? You're the spark. Alex traced Jamie's collarbone, vulnerability raw. Scared it'll all fade, back to whispers. Jamie's kiss silenced doubt, bodies arching in rhythm, reaffirming bonds beyond words. Public tide turned gradual, a diner waitress slipping Alex free pie with a wink, old-timers at VFW toasting the Thompson grit. But backlash bit. Tires slashed on David's truck, anonymous calls hissing slurs. He weathered stoic, confiding in Alex over porch beers one dusk. Hate's loud, son, but love? It echoes longer. Alex leaned head on shoulder, stars wheeling above. Learn that from you. Investigation pivoted. The recovered video, dug from server backups, played in court like vindication. Brody's taunts Crystal, Alex's shove pure defense. Vargas squirmed as cross-exams exposed her oversights, her star witness, a deputy with cane ties, crumbling under perjury lights. Favoritism? Hell, it was justice delayed, the man admitted, sweat beading. Jury deliberations stretched 2 days, tension coiling tight. Alex paced courthouse halls with Jamie, hands clasped white-knuckled. What if? Jamie cut in, forehead to forehead. Then we build from ruins. Like always. Verdict read. Gasps thin cheers, David free, chains shed like snakeskin. Hugs crushed, tears salt-kissed, the trio, father, son, love, stepping in a sunlight reborn. Months blurred. Pride Milford bloomed modest, a block party with drag story hours and food trucks, rainbows draping lampposts. David emceed, awkward but earnest, toasting family in all forms. Alex and Jamie danced slow under strung lights, future's promise in every sway. Love, once mocked, now anthem, kith kin, chosen, proving humanity's deepest win. Deeper into the fray. After the stand, media frenzy peaked. CNN clipped the outburst, viral with millions. That's my son badges printing overnight. David fielded calls from advocacy groups, his gruff charm disarming hosts. Ain't no hero, just a dad late to the party. Alex thrust spotlight ward, spoke at virtual panels, voice steady. Coming out isn't one moment. It's every stand against silence. Romance's trials tested true. Jamie's college acceptances pulled north, long distance looming like specter. Fights flared over missed calls, insecurities gnawing. Miss your laugh in the room, not pixels. But reconciliations burned brighter. Surprise drives south, picnics by rivers mirroring their first. Distance tests, doesn't break. Jamie vowed, bracelet twin on his wrist glinting match. David's reinvention grounded them. He volunteered at the Alliance, mentoring queer youth with stories stripped bare. His own buried affections, the ache of hiding. One evening, groups circle tight, a trembling freshman echoed Alex's old fears. David knelt eye level. Son, world's big, but love's bigger. Claim it. Alex watched, heart full, circle closing with hugs. Backlash crested ugly. A cross burned on their lawn, flames licking night. Fire trucks wailed, neighbors gathered not gawking but guarding. Flashlights circling solidarity. Brody, indicted on hate charges, slunk town, his family's empire crumbling under lawsuits. Vargas, demoted amid ethics probes, faded to footnotes. Spring's full bloom brought proposals poetry. Jamie, post-graduation, drove down unannounced, wildflowers clutched. Under the oak by the field, their genesis, he knelt, ring box trembling. Alex Thompson, you're my fight, my home. Marry me. Yes, tumbled joyful, kiss ceiling amid cheers from hidden David, peeking tree-bound. Wedding wove Milford's mosaic, backyard vows under oaks, guest diverse, GSA kids, alliance mentors, even repentant ex-jocks. David walked Alex aisle-ward, eyes misted. Proud doesn't cover it, kid. Rings exchanged, Jamie's I do a vow eternal. Reception danced till dawn, rainbows in every toast. Years folded forward. Alex law grad, clerking for rights firms, cases echoing his trial's echo. Jamie organized nationally, speeches firelit. David, graying graceful, grandkids eventual, adopted rainbows, spoiling with tales. Milford evolved slow, pride annual, alliances branching. Love's legacy? A town once mocking, now mending. Humanity's arc, bent by one father stand. The echoes of that courtroom thunder lingered long after the gavel's final fall. reshaping not just the Thompsons' lives, but the very soil of Milford. David, unshackled from legal chains, found purpose in the unlikeliest soil. Mentoring at the newly minted Milford Youth Center, a converted warehouse on the edge of town where cornfields met cracked asphalt. Mornings started with coffee black as regret. Afternoons filled with circle talks where teens spilled guts about identities hidden like contraband. I used to think strength was a badge and a gun, he'd tell them, voice roughened by cigarettes quit too late. But it's this, sitting in the fire, coming out the other side. Alex beamed from the sidelines, his own contributions, workshops on legal rights, drawn from trial scars, drawing crowds that swelled beyond town lines. Alex and Jamie's love, tempered by distances forged, burned steadier. Jamie's freshman year at Ohio University pulled him to Athens' bohemian hum, coffee houses buzzing with poets, pride flags snapping from dorm balconies. Weekends blurred into reunions. Alex hitching rides south, their Athens nights a tangle of textbooks and tangled sheets, whispers planning escapes to bigger horizons. Columbus next summer, Jamie murmured one dawn, fingers tracing Alex's bracelet scars from twists habitual. Our apartment, no more goodbyes. Alex kissed his temple, heart full. Promise. But Milford? It's home now, because we claimed it. Challenges nipped heels relentless. Town holdouts grumbled at the center's rainbow mural, petitions circling to shut it down. David faced them head-on at council meetings, suit traded for flannel earnest. These kids ain't threats, they're our future. Deny 'em, you deny us all. Votes teetered, but faces in crowds. Families touched by stories, ex-skeptics softened, tipped scales. Victory tasted like diner pie shared with Alex, father-son grins mirroring pride. Jamie's visits home wove deeper threads. One crisp November, they raked leaves in the Thompson yard, piles flaming orange underfoot. David joined, rake pausing as he eyed Jamie sidelong. Heard you're majoring in social work. Good on ya. World needs more fighters. Jamie flushed, leaves crunching. Learn from the best, sir. Laughter bridged. Easy now, 3 generations in making, though grandkids hovered distant dreams. Alex's path veered lawward firm. Interning at a Toledo firm specializing in civil rights, he poured files late. Cases of queer youth railroaded, echoes of his stand. Nights, Jamie's calls grounded. You're changing laws, babe, one brief at a time. Pride swelled, but imposter whispers lingered. Just a small-town kid. What do you know? Jamie banished them with visits, mock arguments dissolving to kisses. You're the expert on survival. Own it. Winter brought trial's ghost back. Anniversary of the verdict, a local paper profile. From mockery to milestone, the Thompson stand. Photos captured David mid-laugh at the center, Alex and Jamie arm in arm at a holiday GSA dance. Backlash sparked online trolls, but supporters drowned. Letters pouring, invites to speak at regional prides. David demurred gruff. Ain't no speaker, just a dad. Alex coaxed him on stage at Columbus's event, thousands cheering as David shared raw. Love ain't political. It's personal, and it's worth every fight. Romance's romance bloomed in quiet gestures. Valentine's, Jamie blindfolded Alex for a drive. To the Hocking Hills Ridge, blanket spread, stars carpet above. Remember the spot? Jamie's voice soft, box proffered. Matching bracelets, engraved echo. Alex's yes was tear-choked. Love-making slow under heavens. Body's map of memories. Forever starts here. Jamie breathed, and Alex believed bone deep. Spring's thaw mirrored inner blooms. The center hosted its first formal pride, block closed, booths hawking ally cookies, drag queens lip-syncing under tents. Alex emceed, mic hot in hand. Milford, we gather not despite our differences, but because of them. Love wins when we stand, together. David watched from wings, eyes misting as Jamie pulled Alex for a stage kiss, cheers thundering. Post-party, backyard bonfire crackled, stories swapping till embers died. David's toast slurred, sentimental. To family, blood, chosen all. Yet shadows persisted. The center vandalism, windows smashed, slurs spray-painted, tested resolve. Police, new sheriff, a soft-spoken woman who'd attended the trial. Investigated swift. Culprits 2 teens from old guard families. Charges pressed with David's testimony unflinching. Hate's taught. Time we teach better, he told reporters, arm around Alex. Healing followed. Community cleanup, murals repainted brighter, bonds forged in broken glass. Summer scorched, bringing Jamie's internship. Back in Milford, coordinating center events. Daily lunches with Alex at the diner. Knees knocking under tables, plans solidifying. Joint apartment hunt in Columbus. fall move. Evenings, 3 fish the river, lines lazy, talks meandering from politics to puns. David hooked a bass once, whooping boyish. Alex snapped photos, album building of normalcy hard won. Fall's colors peaked with proposals, poetry revisited. Not knee, but heart. Post-internship barbecue. Jamie pulled Alex aside to the oak, leaves confetti gold. We've danced around it long enough. Alex, be my husband? Build this life every mile. Rings simple, silver band rainbow inlaid, slipped perfect. Yes, Alex gasped, kiss deepening as David hollered from grill. About damn time. Wedding wove town's tapestry, June backyard, under oaks strung lights, guests eclectic, center kids in ties borrowed, VFW vets toasting awkward, Jamie's mom teary-eyed. David walked Alex, hand steady, your mod beat dancing circles. Vows exchanged, sun dappled. Jamie's in shadows and stands. I choose you. Rings sealed, kiss cheered. Reception swung. Line dances mixing generations, cake rainbow layered. David pulled Jamie aside later, bear hug crushing. Welcome, son. Treat him right, or answer to me. Jamie grinned. Deal. Honeymooned lakeside cheap, cabin creaking romantic, days hiking, nights loving lazy. Back, life layered. Alex law school bound, Jamie grad programs, David center director now, beard silvering sage. Grandkids came eventual, foster placements, 2 boys wide-eyed, teaching patience anew. Milford's pride grew, alliances statewide, legacy rippling. Years etched lines kind. Alex arguing landmark cases, Jamie keynoting conferences, David penning memoir modest, stands we take. Family holidays boomed, tables groaning, laughter loud. One Christmas, firelit, David raised glass, to the mock that made us. Love's the verdict that sticks. In quiet moments, Alex twisted his wedding band, Jamie's head on shoulder, kids asleep upstairs. We made it, he'd whisper. Jamie smile. And keep making it. David's nod from armchair, damn right. Humanities win? Not grand gestures alone, but the daily stands. Father's voice, son's courage, love's unyielding thread, weaving meaning from mockery's ash. Legacies we've tightened as decades danced by, but the heart of it all pulsed in those early post-trial years, where every victory tasted fragile, hard-earned. David dove into the youth center with a zeal that surprised even him, transforming the echoing space into a haven. Walls splashed murals of intertwined hands in every hue, shell-stocked zines on identities fluid, a corner lounge with mismatched couches for late-night vents. He hired diverse, a non-binary barista for the coffee cart, a trans counselor fresh from Case Western, and watched attendance swell from a dozen to dozens, kids biking in from farms distant, faces lighting at welcome unforced. Alex balanced center shifts with law studies, commuting to Toledo thrice weekly, briefcase heavy with casebooks on equity. Nights, he'd collapse beside Jamie in their starter apartment. Above a Milford bookstore, rent split 3 ways with a roommate artist, debriefing over takeout tie. Professor grilled me on precedent today, Stonewall to Obergefell. Jamie, sketching protest posters for his uni club, looked up mischief. Channel that courtroom fire, babe. You're unstoppable. Lovemaking followed, urgent affirmation, bodies reminding what stakes they'd beaten. Challenges crested waves, unpredictable. A state bill loomed, parental rights veiled attack on queer education, spurring rallies David headline reluctant. Megaphone in hand, pick up bed stage. He roared to hundreds. They want to erase our stories? Over my dead body. These kids deserve truth, not shadows. Cheers boomed. Alex and Jamie in front row, hands clasped proud. Bill stalled, but toll lingered. Hate mail piled. A brick through the center window, shattering glass and illusions of safety. Cleanup communal, brooms sweeping solidarity, but David's hands shook that night, whiskey glass trembling as Alex hugged fierce. We endure, Dad. Like always. Jamie's grad pursuit pulled north to Ann Arbor, Michigan, social work masters with queer focus, stretching their thread taut. Video date sustained, but miles gnawed. Alex's bed cold, Jamie's dorm echoey. Fights flared petty. You forgot our call. Dissolving to makeup drives, reunions explosive. One winter break, snow blanketing Milford, Jamie arrived with mistletoe pilfered, kissing Alex under every arch till breathless. Distance is bullshit, he growled, pinning Alex to door. Need you now. Passion purged doubts, reaffirming roots. David's personal thaw deepened. Dating ventured hesitant. A widower from Lima, soft-spoken librarian named Tom, met at a center fundraiser. Coffee turned dinners, hands brushing over books on hidden histories. Alex teased gentle, "Dad, blushing suits you." David grumbled fond, "Shut it, counselor in training." Man's got stories worth hearing. Acceptance bloomed mutual, Tom joining family barbecues, his quiet strength bolstering David's. Community's shift accelerated. Milford High GSA boomed. Alex guest speaking on allyship. Jamie zooming from Michigan with virtual tours of big city prides. A local ordinance passed, anti-discrimination housing, spearheaded by Center petition. Celebration bonfire roared. S. Moray's sticky, David toasting. From bleachers brawl to bylaws, progress tastes sweet. Romance's milestone marked second anniversary. Jamie drove south unannounced, picnic basket brimming. Back to the riverbank, blanket spread, he unpacked not food but memories. Photo album chronicling stands, trial clipping, pride ticket stubs, bracelet close-ups. 2 years of us, Jamie said, voice thick. And infinite more. Alex pulled him close, kiss deepening as water lapped lullaby. You're my stand every day. Fall brought foster certification for Alex and Jamie. Pilot program for queer youth, David's endorsement key. First placement, 14-year-old Riley, freckled firebrand fleeing conversion camp horrors. Wide-eyed arrival, duffel clutched, melted slow under pancakes and patience. Safe here, he'd whisper nights. Alex knelt, safer than anywhere. Family now. David bonded over fishing, tails swapped. I stood once in court. Your turn to stand tall. Riley's grin cracked walls. Hugs eventual. Winter's grip loosened to spring's promise. Center's annual gala, glitzy modest. Drag auction, silent bids on art. David MC tuxedoed. Jamie DJing indie beats. Alex auctioneering fierce. Fun soared, expansion funded. New wing for counseling. Post-gala, 3 dance slow in empty hall. David's arm around both. Proud of this life we built. Yet trials temper joy. Riley's bio family sued for custody, citing lifestyle concerns. Courtroom redux. Alex testifying heart-pounding. Loves the stability he needs, not erasure. Judge ruled for them, but scars lingered. Riley's nightmares, therapy sessions raw. Jamie held vigils, whispering, "Where's his stand now?" Summer's heat wave baked ambitions. Alex passed bar early. First case pro bono, challenging a school's drag ban. Victory parade-like, headlines praising Thompson legacy. David clipped articles, fridge gallery growing. Jamie's thesis defended stellar, job offer in Columbus, relocation bliss. Apartment hunt yielded charmer. Victorian walk-up, rainbow curtains fluttering. Fall foliage framed move-in weekend, boxes chaos, laughter louder. David hauled furniture, grunting comic. Tom directing rye. Housewarming swelled. Center crew, GSA alums. Riley now 15, baking lopsided cake. Toasts clinked. To homes, chosen, fought for. Winter solstice brought Riley's adoption finalization. Court quiet, but joy seismic. Paper signed, hugs crushing, family official. Brothers now, Alex said, ruffling hair. Riley beamed. Best kind. Spring's renewal hosted wedding sequel. Vows renewed lakeside. Riley ring bearer. David officiant ordained online. Enjoys and justices. David intoned. Eyes twinkling. Ring slipped, kiss sealed, picnic followed sun-soaked. Years cascaded. Riley college-bound activist. Alex partner in firm. Jamie director nonprofit. David retired sage penning columns. Grandkids. Riley's fosters grown. Filled holidays boisterous. Milford's statue unveiled. Abstract figures standing linked. Plaque for stands that bind. One eve, porch swing creaking. Alex leaned on Jamie. David across nodding sage. From mockery to monuments, he mused. Alex smiled. Love's the real verdict. Jamie squeezed hand. And it endures. The tapestry of their lives, woven from courtroom threads of defiance and tenderness, stretched across seasons that blurred into a legacy as enduring as the Ohio River's patient carve through stone. By the time Alex turned 30, Milford had shed much of its husk. Not flawless, a town still wrestling old ghosts in VFW corners and church basements, but laced with progress's quiet veins. School curricula inclusive, businesses flaunting safe space, stickers like badges of quiet rebellion, annual prides drawing crowds from Akron to Dayton. The youth center stood cornerstone, now a campus sprawling with art studios where Riley, once trembling foster, now 20 and studying graphic design at OSU, taught workshops on digital activism, his murals exploding color across brick. David, pushing 60 with a hitch in his step from a knee-gone rogue, consulted part-time, his memoirs standing ground a regional bestseller that gathered dust on nightstands but sparked coffee shop debates. Tom anchored him steady, their partnership a gentle rhythm of library dates and garden tins, holidays hosting the brood expanded. Never thought I'd have this, David confessed one autumn, leaves swirling as he and Alex raked the old yard. A son married, grandkids underfoot, a life without hiding. Alex paused, rake leaning, hazel eyes, his mother's, mirroring pride. You built it, Dad. That stand? It was the foundation. Jamie and Alex's marriage, 10 years etched, thrived in Columbus's vibrant churn. Brownstone walk-up traded for a craftsman house in Clintonville. Backyard garden Jamie coaxed herbs from clay. Alex's firm grew, landmark wins stacking, overturning a state's conversion therapy ban, his closing echoing trial fire. Love heals, force fractures. Choose humanity. Jamie led a non-profit bridging rural queers, shuttling resources to hamlets like Milford, his keynotes fiery poetry that left audiences hushed. Nights, they collapsed into each other, wine loosening tongues to dreams deferred then claimed. Travel to Provincetown beaches, adoptions considered anew. Family branched lush. Riley, adopted anchor, partnered with a sculptor named Kai, their loft a chaos of canvases and cat hair. Visits brimmed stories. Kai's exhibits featuring Riley's designs, wedding plans whispered for spring. Grandkids arrived courtesy. First, Riley's twins via surrogacy, boy-girl whirlwinds named after rivers, Hocking and Scioto, toddlers chasing fireflies in the Thompson yard, David's laughter booming as he hoisted them high. Little hellions, remind me of you, Alex. More followed. Alex and Jamie fostering a teen girl, Mia, sharp-tongued survivor of streets, her adoption sealing with cake-smeared faces. Challenges, inevitable, honed sharper. A national backlash wave. Legislators railing, family values, spurred threats. Centered to funded attempts, Alex's cases appealed vicious. One midnight, after a deposition draining, Alex paced kitchen, Jamie's arms circling back. They're scared, losing control. Jamie's chin rested shoulder. We've faced worse. Remember the brick? Laughter bubbled, dissolving to slow dance under fridge magnet moons. David's health faltered subtle. A cough lingering, doc visits hushed. Tom confided over poker night, cards fanned. Checks out fine, but he's pushing. Alex confronted gentle postgame. Truck cab, rumbling homeward. He's up, Dad. World's not ending if you rest. David grunted, will gripping. Can't, too much left. Tears pricked unspoken. Later, embrace porch lit. Love you, old man. Don't make us stand without you. Riley's wedding wove joy's thread. Barn venue outskirts, fairy lights twinkling, guests eclectic, activist tattooed, farmers in BOLO ties. Alex best man, toast heartfelt, from foster fear to family fierce. Riley, you taught us standing means lifting others. Vows exchanged, tear-streaked, dance floors swinging to queer anthems. David, two-stepping with Tom, caught Alex's eye, wink shared legacy past. Summer zenith brought reunion grand, family camp out Hocking Hills, tents pitched ridgetop, fires crackling tails. Kids roasted marshmallows sticky, Mia now 16 strumming guitar ballads. Jamie pulled Alex aside trailward, stars pricking vast. 10 years, feels like yesterday's kiss. Alex's hand, cupped jaw, and tomorrow's promise. Love-making tent whispered, passion undimmed. Fall's Harvest hosted Center Gala Pinnacle, black tie under tents, auction fetching fortunes for scholarships. David keynote, reflective. 20 years since that courtroom, mockery to milestone. We've stood, fallen, stood again. Keep standing. Ovation thundered, Alex and Jamie center stage hugging him. Riley, filming Misty. Winter's hush birthed Mia's adoption. Court solemn, but after party boomed with piñata cracks and cake. Sis now, she grinned, hugging Jamie fierce. David, gifted necklace simple, rainbow pendant. We're proud, kid. Spring's renewal saw David's doc news graver, lung shadowed, treatment mapped. Family rallied. Chemo chairs with audiobooks Jamie narrated, garden walks Alex paced slow. Fighting like always, David joked won, but eyes held fear-veiled. Vigil nights, Alex held hand. Your stand saved us. Now we stand for you. Summer scorched resolve. Treatment wearied, but David pushed, center visits wheeled, stories sustaining. One dusk, yard swing, grandkids clambering, he beckoned Alex close. Proudest thing? Watching you love, fearless. Tell Jamie, Thanks for my boy back. Alex throat tight. He knows. We all do. Fall leaves turned, treatment turning tide. Remission whispered hopeful, family exhaling collective. Thanksgiving table groaned abundance, toasts layering gratitude. Riley's to roots reclaimed, Mia's to home's hard won, David's gravel, to stands at echo. By 35, Alex reflected porch solo, Jamie inside, wrangling twins visiting. Memoir sequel pen half, title Echoes of Stand. Call from David, read your draft, damn good, son. Makes an old man cry. Laughter shared, love's undercurrent. Legacy? Not statues cold, but lives alight. Center thriving, laws shifted, hearts opened. Milford's annual stand day, trial anniversary, Drew Pilgrim's stories swapped under oaks. Alex keynote once, Jamie beside. From one father's voice, a chorus rose. Stand, for love, for each other. David's 90th loomed distant, but health held. Retirement cabin with Tom, fishing rods ready. Visits brimmed, grandkids chaos, stories circled. One eve, fire pit glowing, David raised mug. Life's verdict? Guilty of too much joy. Thanks to you all. Alex met Jamie's gaze across flames, hands linked unseen. From mockery's sting to meaning's embrace, love's ultimate stand, eternal.